What's going on, guys? It is Friday, April 14th. Let me check here. Wow, mid April 2023. I hope you guys are prepared for life, mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. Please share any signal you can find. The algorithm hates truth. So please, this is an important one. Every market update we do every single day is important to just figure out what's going on for 5 minutes, what's going on in the world. Remember, we want to see what is going on, the dog wagging the tail. We want to see what's actually happening. We don't care about the noise, CNBC, Jim Cramer, inverse Cramer, he's up jumping on tables, stuff like that. Buy, sell. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Credit markets, that's where it's at, right? The trifecta. The DXY, dollar relative strength. We have the bond market, the 10-year yield, the benchmark yield, and then oil. We want to see what's going on with those three, and then we check our global liquidity indicators. So those are the three things. Please share the signal out. We just dropped our monthly portfolio allocation letter this week and video on our YouTube channel. This is why this is super important. Understand, get down to the root cause of things. I'm a guy who wants to stop putting band-aids on bullet holes. Everything that drives me insane in this world is because we are a nation of pill poppers and taking Ritalin and fiat foods. We're gonna try to take a pill to lose a bunch of weight. We're gonna chop it off. Everything except putting in the work. Proof of work is the only thing that gets us ahead in society. One, because it actually does the job. But number two, it's the mental state, right? Actually going through and being in that mental state and having the work and the effort and the being able to look back and say, wow, that's what I accomplished, that's what I did. And that confidence that gives you, the level of confidence and the mental acuity then. And that is something you cannot put a price on. And that is something I wish for everybody. And that's why we have so many problems in the world. That's why we have such low self-esteem, such low self-confidence. That's why we have so many mental problems and depression, because people aren't physically tasking themselves. They're not going out working out. They're not treating their bodies right. They don't have good nutrition. They have a poor spiritual game. They're not right with God. They're not putting in the work. They're sitting there playing video games, smoking pot, drinking beer, doing whatever, not putting in the work, not going. And humans were built to work. Humans were built to do things. We live in a world. God is a rewards-based God, not a needs-based God. God doesn't just give us things because we need them. He gives us things because we work our butts off, because we go take action. It's luck, right? People, oh, he's lucky. Oh, they're lucky. No, luck is preparedness meeting opportunity. That's what luck is. Let's get off our butts and go do something. So with that being said, I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk today. 3.5 on the 10-year yield. So again, a movement up here in the last week or so. Yield's been moving up a little bit. Where are the central banks at? Where are the central banks? A little move like this, we'll see. It sets, getting to 3.5. The central banks getting their guards up a little bit. So we'll see here. We have real problems when we get up here into the fours like this, and that's where you can see all of a sudden, boom, drops back down. The rate. So the last 6 months, this is the last 6 months, guys. It's been the rates going down, the global liquidity. So we'll see here what happened here in the fall. This is going up all year, and then boom, they're like, whoa, we got to stop this. It's getting to like 4.5% in the 10-year yield. Things are starting to crumble. Sri Lanka is collapsing. The pound is collapsing in Europe. You can see these things are starting to collapse, and rates moving up act as like a variable interest rate on your mortgage, where every month these people around the world, or wherever people are that have the dollar-denominated debt, which is the majority of the world, because of the reserve currency status, have to then find dollars to pay off their dollar-denominated debts. Well, when that's continuing, the rates are continuing to go up. That's like a variable rate mortgage that on whatever debt they have, they're having to find more and more dollars to service that debt. So that's the problem. That's why we see this happening, and that's why this is something we have to keep our eye on, because the credit market drives the world. It's the biggest market in the world. The stock market, the equity markets are a derivative of that. So the credit markets are what we need to keep our eyes on. And we've seen this little pop up here over the last week or so, and we're going to monitor it, right? Because we're getting into a little bit of a territory. It's like, okay, 3.5 to 4 is kind of this alarm bells start going off 4+, and we're things have been crashing and going crazy here, as we can see here. In these times, they had to come in, just start crushing it. Global liquidity is positive as of the last handful of months, as we can see this downtrend, lower lows and lower highs. So, well, for the most part, but lower lows, and we're going to continue seeing this going forward. Right? So this is what we have to watch. The free market wants these rates to go up because the system is crumbling, and the free market's saying, hey, we want to account for all this garbage that's going on. We want to account for all the craziness. But then, us humans coming here, the central banks around the world come in there, buy up a ton of debt, monetizing the debt, and further enslaving all of us in the future, if you just saw the U.S. just ran like a $380 billion deficit just in the month of March, I think it was. I don't even think it was the quarter, but I think it was the month of March. I got to look now. Now I'm going crazy. But massive. We're going to have to go more and more. So, someone the other day was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, the dollar could lose 99% more of its value just in the next 10 years. And we're like, that's crazy. That's insane. Well, buckle up because it's going to happen. And it may be 20 years, but in the next 10, 20 years, max, it's going to lose 99% of its value again. It did it in the last 100. Now it's going to do it 10x. It's going to do it in the next 10 or 20. So buckle up. This is why we talk about hard assets, Bitcoin, and then getting a little bit of gold and silver, some lead, guns, ammo, food storage, water, security, land, and then get your community right. Let's build community. The number one thing in a survival situation is community. If you don't have those resources, you don't have those assets, then you can be friends and develop skills that other people are going to want, and then you will be someone in need when times are tough. Because we're going to have this period, guys. We're going to have this period. Sometimes I think, hey, I'm going crazy, and then I look back and say, wow, so many of these predictions and conspiracies and all these things over the last 20 years just keep coming true. So I have to follow my gut instinct. I have to follow my intuition and what my study and my gut and what it's been leading me to the last 20 years. Because these things constantly keep happening that I feared were going to happen. So one of those things is we're going to have more unrest. We're going to have more freedoms taken, more liberties, because people just don't want to stand up. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to vote in the right person. And we constantly want more free things and then we get our liberties taken away and our freedoms taken away in the name of some perceived security. Well, that's going to keep happening. And, unfortunately, humans are weak and we're all weak. And that's going to keep happening. We're going to be more unrest because of that, because people are going to be more and more angry, more and more upset. They're not going to know why they're upset and angry, because go check out the video we just did as well today about why 99% of people retire poor. It's because of that. When you don't understand what's going on in that video that I talk about, and it's just a couple minutes long, you go watch it, you'll see exactly why most people are poor. And that's why. And then they don't have this life where they can afford anything, like now in the world we're going to get into when inflation's crazy and people wonder what's going on, and they turn to their neighbor and say, it's your fault. Dollar softening, dollar weakening, liquidity being pumped into the market in general, people selling out of the stocks or bonds right now, and that's why the dollar is rising a little bit, and they're actually selling out of the dollar a little bit. So what that leads me to believe in a way is that money has got to go somewhere, right? So it's probably going to Bitcoin, gold, and silver, other commodities, stock market, stuff like that, because it's leaving the bond market. So the value of the bonds are going down, then the rates go up, and it's leaving the dollar. So people are out of the dollar and they're out of bonds. So you can see these little movements here and there, and it's cool to kind of see these things, and that's what we want to do here, is just see what's going on. I know we've been going for 8 minutes, so we're going to wrap this up. And I want to keep these 5 to 10 minutes from now on going forward, and just get in, get out, get some of my thoughts in the day and what's actually happening behind the scenes. We're sick of the Band-Aids on bullet holes, right? Who's sick of it? Say aye. Comment in the comment section if you are sick of the Band-Aids being put on bullet holes and people saying things like inflation. Inflation is caused by an expansion of the currency supply. That is it, people. That is it. Paul Krugman, Elizabeth Warren, Mitch McConnell. It's only caused by that. People, Robert Reich. Oh, it's caused by, look at the greedy corporations and wages. Guys, that is downstream of inflation. That's the definition of a Band-Aid on bullet hole. You can't call the symptom, oh, you got a headache? Well, you must have. We have no idea. You got to get to the true cause of what you have in order to then say, if someone has cancer and you're just putting Band-Aids on them, or you're like, oh, you just got a headache? Well, here, we'll give you some Motrin. That'll cure it. We're not fixing anything. That's what we do with our economy. That's what we do with politicians. We just constantly go and vote in these terrible policies, whether it's guns, whether it's anything, you name it. We just continually do stupid things to try to make up the arson firefighter the government creates. And we are the government. The people are the government. We create these problems. We vote in stupid people. They put in stupid bureaucrats. They create these problems. And then more stupid people come to run for government. And then more stupid voters vote for the more stupid people, who then put in more stupid bureaucrats and keep pouring gasoline on this fire that's already been created, claiming they're going to be a firefighter. Well, good luck. Good luck with that. This is why we tout independence and resilience here. Take ownership of your life, personal responsibility and accountability, and you'll sleep like a baby at night. And you could be outside the system. When you're in all these things we talk about, Bitcoin, gold and silver and food and all these things, you're up above. You're 100,000 feet up, and you too in a Chinese spy balloon, and you are looking down at everything, and it's very easy. The world is very easy to see at that point. It's very easy to see what's going on in the movements of what's happening. I'll tell you from firsthand experience. I've never been in a Chinese spy balloon, but I try to zoom out to 100,000 feet and look in the macro. And when you are truly a Bitcoiner and understanding that the problems aren't red versus blue, it's the state versus you, things become very easy to see, and it becomes very clear what you need to do, and that things are going to be solved in politics. Let me tell you that. It's the money. It's the money. So that's it, guys. $82 in the crude. Not a ton going on there, obviously. Just kind of flat here, holding these levels, like I said, over the last few months. Gold down just a tad, silver down just a tad, 1 to 2% each. So just slight movements there. But again, still, silver's at half its all-time high. Gold nearing its all-time high. It's pretty incredible. And then Bitcoin, our three liquidity indicators: gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Bitcoin hovering at 30,000, holding at 30,000. These things, chaos happens. People flock to these risk-off assets. Bitcoin is a risk-off asset. It's the safest asset you could ever own in your life because you hold it. Unless a meteor hits the Earth and knocks out the entire human species and all the grid, technology, and all the satellites, then yes, you're right. Bitcoin won't work. Until that happens, Warren Buffett, then you're going to have to live with Bitcoin because it ain't going anywhere. And it is the future of the world. Bitcoin, energy, everything will be repriced in Bitcoin. It already is. I mean, you think Putin's repricing and Xi are repricing oil and energy and everything in Bitcoin? It is the 7th grade science experiment control. It is the control. Now we have something we can actually see what's going on and price the world in that. Bitcoin is running. I don't have it up right now, the mempool, so you can go check it out yourself. But I did do a transaction earlier as well. Actually sent some Bitcoin to myself. So it worked. Bitcoin is running. The sun is up. Beautiful. Let's go spend some time with family and friends. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Please share truth because the algorithm hates truth. And this is not financial advice. It's freedom advice. Question everything with boldness, even the existence of God himself. For if there is a God, surely he would appreciate that in learning and growth than blindfolded fear, than just believing to believe. So I appreciate you more than you possibly know. Please share it. That's the only way we're going to fight the collectivism and the Fabianists, the Marxists, and the algorithm. That's it. So have a wonderful weekend. I look forward to seeing you soon.